A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
It is the Sportsocracy. Week 1 of the NFL is in the books. Monday Night Football doubleheader last night. Yep, that's what I was doing most
Not
of
me,
the time.
which is why I'm all wired and jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Jeremy is fired up and ready to go.
I've got enough caffeine in me to power a Prius. Just give me some time.
Oh, God. Last night was, it was some special kind of football. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants in, just another snoozer. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger, if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you're probably really interested in this game. Ben Roethlisberger throws for 3 touchdowns. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot to take away from it other than the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is good and the New York Giants are awful.
Steelers good, Giants bad. That's all you need to know. Saquon Barkley had the worst game by a running back in 20 years.
Yeah, it was not good for him at all. He ended up
just for posterity's sake.
Yeah.
Somebody tried to tell you that.
Yes, you did. All you have to do, load the box against the Giants.
Who
stop
scares
Saquon
you?
Barkley.
All right, so Darius Slayton can beat you over the top.
Yep.
If they had rolled Joe Hayden over onto him, none of that would happen. He was beating Sean Nelson. Whoa. And I guarantee you every team in the league saw that and went, our one corner against that guy, 8 in the box against Saquon, and we feel just fine.
Yep, because for some reason Evan Ingram is never going to figure out how to actually become a threat at the tight end position.
Well, he's afraid he's going to break, because
there is that.
He's like a Fabergé egg. He's real fun to look at, not a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley had 15 carries for 6 yards.
Mm-hmm. That means from here to the camera. That's how far he got.
Yep.
At halftime last night, he had 3 less yards than my dog did. If you're a Saquon Barkley owner in fantasy football, you should be terrified of what you saw last night. Mm-hmm. And Daniel Jones, I have tried to give Danny Dimes the benefit of the doubt. I really have. He does that thing that young quarterbacks do that drives me insane. He makes that god-awful decision that you just can't make. You can't make that throw into Bud Dupree across your body into the end zone that gets picked off by a lineman.
Right.
You can't do that.
Yeah, I give the kid credit. Give the kid credit to have the guts to try to pull something like that off. But this is the NFL. This ain't Duke. You're not getting away with this. You're not going up against friggin' Georgia Tech every week. Oh.
Yeah, it's still too soon. I'm still not ready to talk about it. I will be in a church basement this evening with stale donuts and bad coffee to talk about it.
But it's obvious that the New York Giants they are a whole mess.
Well, the defense is better than I thought it was. Blake Martinez has made that defense better than I thought it was. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be the pushover that I thought they were. But they're still not good. And in that division, I still look at the Washington football team, who is better than most thought they were. Mm-hmm. The Eagles, who are not as good as most people thought they were, and this Giants team. And I look at the Cowboys and go, well, that's 6 wins.
Yep.
So anybody losing their mind about the Cowboys, I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, Cowboys will walk away with this division, but the only saving grace for Saquon was that he did get 6 catches for 60 yards. So, fantasy players, you got 12 whole points. Congratulations on that.
Woo!
But he will have better games than that throughout the season, as he will find ways to get into the end zone. I mean, it's clear that he is an amazing running back. I mean, just on that one catch that he made where he hurtled over the Pittsburgh Steeler defender.
And got killed on the backside.
Well, that's fine.
Devin Bush killed him as soon as his feet hit the ground.
He can make plays like that, and he will be able to get away. He will be able to have his big plays every other week or so. But for the most part, yes, it has been that way for a year now. Because last year, Saquon was a letdown.
I said I would take Ezekiel Elliott over him in fantasy drafts, and I don't back off that. Mm-hmm. I think he is superiorly talented, but there's just not much around him.
No.
You know, Slayton is a guy that I like moving forward. Ingram always is underwhelming to me. Golden Tate coming back will help. I just look at this team and go, I don't see any way you don't go 5-11. It's just got 5-11 written all over it.
Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Juju Smith-Schuster.
He's real good at football.
2 touchdowns last night.
When he's not being thrown to a guy named Duck, when he's not getting ducks thrown by Duck, he's pretty good.
I was also very impressed with James Washington. I thought, come on, tell me that touchdown was not one of the best ones that you've seen in a while.
That touchdown was good. The tackle was terrible. You went high on a 5'11 receiver who just bowled through you.
Yeah.
And that was literally the only play the kid made. The weapons are good. That's never been a problem. Ebron's good. He gives them a chance, with tight ends. The Steelers just seem to manufacture tight ends. No matter who they put out there, they seem to be fine.
Yeah.
The guy that I want to talk about is Deontay Johnson. He's real good. Like real good. He needs to learn how to catch with his hands, not with his body. But the way they ran that offense, I don't know how you stop them. Because, so you look at the concepts, all right, so the Juju touchdown, the one where he's just wide open in the back of the end zone, the reason he was so wide open is because they had run that same play 3 times on that drive in reverse. So Juju runs the flag route and picks off the defender on Deontay Johnson, and then they just flipped it. So he runs the flag, and then they overlap each other, and I mean, obviously the safety's going to bite on it because he's seen it 3 times.
Right.
And then you're just doomed. You have one of the most talented receivers in the NFL wide ass open.
This was the play where the 2 Giants defenders collided with each other?
Well, that happened a lot. I'm talking about the one in the back of the end zone where Ben floated it like it was floating on a cloud, and Juju's just, thanks.
Yeah.
Juju's a guy that I said bounce back year for him all offseason. Everything I saw last night confirms that. I love Juju Smith-Schuster. If the guy in your league is willing to sell high on him, I would buy high.
Deontay Johnson had 6 catches for 57 yards. He was targeted the most out of Ben Roethlisberger's wide receivers. He had 10 targets last night.
Yes.
So they want to use him a lot in this offense, and I think last night was the start of a comeback season, I guess if you can call it that, for Ben Roethlisberger. And the guy missed 14 weeks last year, and
Ben's
I have
good.
long been saying he's got more left in the tank. I don't know how much more after this year, but just looking at this year, I think they're going to be good.
Ben's good, and that pass rush is ferocious. The back 4 scares me, and I seemingly say that every year about the Steelers.
It's the way they run their franchise. They run their franchise. They know the pieces that they want, like you said with the tight ends. They always seem to have tight ends that do something. I mean, hell, Ben Roethlisberger made Nick Vannett fantasy relevant for at least half a season 2 years ago. So it's just the way that they run. They know exactly what they want to do. Completely opposite to when you look at the New York Giants, because I don't believe David Gettleman knows what the fuck's going on.
He doesn't.
I mean, I didn't like the guy
clue.
when he was with Carolina, and then he goes to New York and, talks all this big game about, we're going to build a winner. We're going to get us back to the Super Bowl. Not with this crew,
This is what happens when you take a guy like DeAndre Baker in the first round and he lasts a year. This is what happens when you miss on draft picks like that. And I can tell you that with every bad team in the NFL. I can lead you down the path of bad drafting. You know what? You want to know the difference between the Giants and the Steelers? It's not hard to figure out at all. The Giants used a 2nd-round pick on a corner that got just beat like a kettle drum last night. You know who the Steelers took ahead of that guy? Chase Claypool. You know why I'm not big on James Washington? Because Chase Claypool is better, and he's going to have a role in this offense. He is fantastic. That catch on the sideline, and this is next-gen stats, lowest percent probability of completion of any catch in the league this week. The one that he caught on the sideline where he double toe tapped
Yep.
He's really good, and that's what the Steelers do. They find guys like that. They trade a 1 for Minkah Fitzpatrick, who was a broken toy in Miami and is all of a sudden a fantastic safety. Now, I understand he blew a coverage last night on touchdown. It is what it is. We all make mistakes. That team's really good. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't think the Steelers are a Super Bowl contender, you didn't watch the same game I did.
All right, we talked about the defense, we talked about the wide receivers. What about the running backs? Benny Snell last night, 113 yards on 19 carries. James Conner's apparently banged up yet again. Is he the guy moving forward for this offense?
I think so.
And do you think that
I don't think it matters if James Conner's hurt. I think James Conner could be perfectly healthy, and Benny Snell's still the better running back. He's more talented. He has more burst. I said this, again, all offseason. I don't like James Conner. I don't think he's the bell cow. I don't think he's the guy. Do I think Benny Snell can be? I don't know. And Jalen Samuels, I don't really know what he does. There are very few guys in the NFL I look at and go, what do you do well? Like, why do they keep you on a roster? Is it just because you can do a whole bunch of things? Because you don't do any of them well. And they still got the rookie, Anthony McFarland, who I think will have a role at some point. He was inactive last night, but I think he will be active at some point this year.
For fantasy purposes, is that seems like to me to be, because I played this with them last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers, just Russian roulette, trying to figure out which one of these guys is going to be the guy week to week. You don't really know. There was a time where we thought Jalen Samuels was going to end up being something. I didn't. Well,
guys that played tight end at NC State don't become bell cow running backs in the NFL. I have a hang up with James Conner. I don't know what it is that he does well. He seems to have lost a step. He's lost the burst. He doesn't break tackles anymore. And then you think maybe it's because DeCastro's out and they've had the right tackle. Zach Banner got hurt last night. And you think maybe it's the line. And then in comes Benny Snell, and he looks like 10 times the running back that James Conner did. At some point, you have to stop apologizing for guys. I understand he's a great story, and I think he's a great kid. He's not a great running back, and that's just the way it is.
You try to square peg, round hole that thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't run behind that line, you're probably not a very good NFL running back.
Right. So last night, Pittsburgh wins by 10, 26-16. 2-score game, just like Jeremy said it was going to be.
That's a double win for me. Sunday did not particularly go my way. Last night did. That was 4-0.
Nice. Tennessee Titans in the nightcapper last night, the second game of the Monday Night Football doubleheader, just barely beat the Denver Broncos 16-14.
Shouldn't have. Point blank shouldn't have. This loss is on one person, Vic Fangio, who I have said since literally the first game he coached in the NFL, this is the worst head coach I've ever seen. This is Rich Kotite level bad of head coach, and they gave him another year, and it blows my mind. They're allowing him to, with that offense, the first offense in the modern era to have top 50 picks in 3 years at quarterback, tight end, and 3 receivers, and you're letting that guy lead the charge here. Doomed. You're screwed from the jump. With some of the worst clock management I've ever seen. Apparently, he thought they would give him free tacos or some shit if he had timeouts left. Like they would give him 10 tacos for every timeout that he held.
Right.
And you've got Gostkowski who couldn't have hit water off a bridge. And I really can't wrap my head around exactly what it was he thought. Like, did he think Gostkowski had been so bad that, screw it, let him kick it. He'll miss it. You don't ice him, you don't anything. And he comes down and just strokes one. I mean, it's still one of the best kickers of all time.
Right.
I understand he had the hip injury and with the virus, and he didn't get the opportunity to really, get his swing back down. At least that's what Pat McAfee said, and Pat McAfee's forgotten more about kicking than I know, so I'm going to go with him. I get that, but you can't just go, screw it. We'll see what he can do. I'll tell you,
25 yards away, by the way.
Yes. I will tell you this. I would be worried about Derrick Henry. If I'm a Titans fan or a Derrick Henry fantasy football owner, I'd be worried about Derrick Henry.
Okay, why?
They gave him the ball a bajillion times.
He had 31 carries, 119 yards, I believe it was.
He never looked overly good to me. It looked like the Derrick Henry that I remember from 2 years and beyond. Here's my hiccup with the Titans. Tannehill looked good off play action. When you make him throw, he's very average. If you know he's throwing, he's very average. He's a great quarterback off play action. He made Corey Davis relevant last night. Jonnu Smith was good. A.J. Brown is still a good receiver. They just locked him down. When I know they have to throw, they're bad. Like if I know, if I can call the play, and usually I can usually look at the formation and go, run, pass. I might have missed 20% last night at most because they tip off what they're doing. I don't see how this is a long-term viable solution. And I have issues. I've had issues with the Titans all offseason, and they kind of confirmed them last night. The defense is fine. I think had Cortland Sutton played last night, would that possibly have made a difference? Maybe. If Jerry Jeudy doesn't drop one that hits him in the hands, and they would have had the opportunity to run 2 more minutes off the clock. If Vic Fangio doesn't just have the most god-awful drive leading up to Tennessee getting the ball back, this all could have been different. But this is what bad coaching does. And it blows my mind. I do not understand how you become a head coach in the NFL and you can't negotiate the clock any better than that. And I knew it. As soon as he punted it to him the last time, I went, this is a game-winning drive. I said it on Twitter before they got the ball back. As the punt was happening, I said, let me tell you what's getting ready to happen. They're going to drive down and kick a field goal as time expires. I missed it by 17 seconds.
Yep.
And he just sits there on tight ends, or on timeouts, It makes zero sense to me. I asked you yesterday, who was the team that you think markedly less of today than you did yesterday? We didn't have a good one. We had a few that were, I think, markedly less of the Denver Broncos today than I did yesterday.
Yeah, and it's all because of Vic Fangio.
It's all because of Vic Fangio. All of it. I think Drew Lock's better than most people do. Jerry Jeudy looks like just a star in the making. Cortland Sutton's good. Noah Fant's fantastic. Melvin Gordon looked good. Phillip Lindsay even looked good in the limited action he got. The defense looked good. They've got a linebacking core that is ferocious. And I still look at Vic Fangio and go, but you can't go anywhere. Can't do anything. I'll have the Broncos at probably 7-9. I thought they were a playoff team, and they may still be. If you told me right now they fired Vic Fangio today and put Pat Shurmur in as the coach, I'd guarantee you they're 10-6 and make the playoffs. And that's Pat Shurmur, who I don't think is a good head coach.
Right.
Just solely because he understands how to handle the clock. He would have given Drew Lock an opportunity with a minute to go and good receivers to do something. Vic Fangio gave him 17 seconds and a slew of timeouts. Woohoo! Oh, it drives me nuts.
I mentioned it on this show yesterday. I mentioned it on the afternoon show yesterday. I just can't get away from it. What the hell is going on with kicking in the NFL? I get that Stephen Gostkowski is coming off an injury. He didn't have, all of the run-up that he usually has to a season. But for God's sakes, the guy missed 4 kicks yesterday.
If they let him on the plane, that was awful sweet of him. Stephen Gostkowski became, yesterday, the highest paid player per game not named Russell Wilson in the NFL because he made $2.5 million for one really bad game. Ties him with Kirk Cousins.
Have they cut him loose already?
Oh, they're going to.
They're going to.
You can't be that bad. Hellfire, I could do that. He wasn't even close.
You can make a 25-yard field goal?
100%.
Okay.
Take me right now.
I'm not.
Disconnect one of these cameras. I'll go do it right freaking now. Now, can I make a 42-yarder? No. Didn't say I could.
Right.
Before some smartass in the comments tells me, you can't make one for 46. I know that.
I don't know. Don't know. It's just, it's one of those things. Jeremy says kickers don't matter. In fantasy football, I'll agree with you.
Kickers
in
don't
real
matter.
Football, kickers matter.
Kickers don't matter. I'll be 100% honest with you. You know what I need out of a kicker? I need a guy that can make one from 45 in. That's it. I don't need anything more than that because I'm going for it every other time. If as long as it's not 4th and 12, if 4th and 3 from the plus 45-yard line, I'm going for it. Period. Think about how many times last night the Titans. I thought I was going to be talking about how bad I hated Mike Vrabel today when he doesn't go for it on 4th and 1 when you absolutely should have. And then Vic Fangio goes, hold my beer. I'm going to screw this up worse.
Michael Whiteside, you don't want to get into that bet with him.
No, because I can. 100% I can. It's one of the more freakish things you'll ever see in your life.
Just how high can Jeremy lift his leg?
I can almost put my foot behind my head at 6'4", 260. what up? And no, you don't want to see it.
I don't feel like
I'll do it,
anybody
but
wants
you don't want to see it.
I don't feel like anybody wants to see that. We're not. We don't need to get into the. Let's see if Tank can lose his breakfast this morning.
Of which you brought me a lovely biscuit and gravy this morning. I think it's funny how many people think we don't like each other. Like I get that
true.
all the time of that we just hate each other, and as soon as that camera turns off, we're trying to kill each other like Tom and Jerry. That's not how this goes.
No, not at all. I don't know. Last night, the biggest takeaway for me was Dave Gettleman needs to be shipped out of New York. I think that's the only positive step that they could take right now. Do you agree or disagree?
I like Joe Judge. I do. I think that team's much more disciplined than they used to be. Gettleman is a problem, because they're bereft of talent.
Yep.
And the talent that they do have, they've overpaid. Blake Martinez looked like a man possessed last night. He's also making $10 million. And that's a problem. When you miss guys like DeAndre Baker, and you miss guys like, Will Hernandez has not been great, which I missed that one too. So, mulligan on you. You miss guys like that, your team's going to be bereft of talent quick. And that's what I see with the Giants. I see a team that can't run block. I see a team that can't, defend in the back, the back seven. You can throw on them at will, and that's where you're at.
You look at their roster, though, and they should really be better than they are. That's the thing I can't get my head around, is I feel like they don't have great stars on their team, but they have really decent players that I feel like they should be better than this. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But I look at like Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence. I mean, maybe it's because they've got big names that don't really have a lot of success at the NFL level just yet, but I feel like you got to find the right person to get that out of them. And maybe that guy is Joe Judge. But this is also a team that has championship hopes. They have championship pedigree. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that they were winning Super Bowls.
That's been a minute ago.
It's a lot more recent than you might think, though.
Is it, though? I mean, really, is it, though?
What
10 years.
9 years ago?
That's 10 years ago. And they're not a good team. They haven't been a good team in a long time.
I don't know. I feel like they need to do something, and to me, David Gettleman is the first on the chopping block.
I agree. He's not good. That team's not good. But the problems that they have are not going to be. I mean, it's still going to take time. All right, let's say they fire Gettleman. You still are stuck with Daniel Jones, who's a quarterback that I don't think is ever going to be above average. And I said it the day he got drafted. I like Dwayne Haskins better, and it wasn't all that close. The Giants had some big raging problem with him. Well, he's 1-0, and your quarterback's 0-1. And he had a lot to do with it. Just let that be known.
Right.
So, the Giants are, the irrelevant team in New York, at least on this show, because it's way more fun to make fun of me for my New York football team.
Maybe y'all should just play in your own league. You should just have a metropolitan football league, and you guys just play each other over and over again, and nobody has to care.
Hey, but this week we get to play the 49ers with Frank Gore starting at running back for us.
Woo! Yeah. Feel good about that?
Hell no.
At least my team gets the Panthers.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of happiness on this set a week from yesterday. It's just not going to include me.
Right.
There's going to be multiple happy Buccaneers fans and a happy Cowboy.
Right.
And then there's going to be a big fat ginger that's sad about his Jets.
All right, looking back on week one of the NFL season, what stands out to you?
I heard a lot of people say they were going to bet the under on every game, and the over hit way more than I would have thought. The consistent offenses were better than I would have even thought. I would have thought there would be some rust. I thought the offenses would be ahead of the defenses, but there were some impressive showings. Kansas City's offense is really good. The Packers' offense is really good. Washington's better than I thought. The Jaguars won a game. I didn't think we were going to say that for an extended period of time.
Right.
The Ravens are good. There's just a lot of talent in this league. I am going to say something that I guarantee you elicits some people telling me I'm out of my mind. I think the Arizona Cardinals are the best team in the NFC. I still think the Cowboys win the Super Bowl. I think they win the NFC. I think the best team in the NFC is the Arizona Cardinals. And we went through this yesterday because you rolled your eyes at me when I said it, just like you just did.
Yep.
Look at the schedule. Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh, I get it. They got 4 really easy weeks coming up.
And there's a lot more after that. It's not just those 4.
They'll start out the season 5-0, and that's going to be fine. They just, I don't know. I still have to believe. I still have to see more to believe it. Yeah, you took down a really damn good football team in week 1. Sure. Did I think they looked overly impressive doing it? No, I didn't.
You did. Well, you were too busy watching Tommy Terrific throw. Tommy Terrific was seeing ghosts. That felt good. That felt good.
That's two in 2 days.
That felt good.
No, they didn't look overly impressive doing it to me.
No, you're wrong. It's okay. We're all wrong at some time, and you're wrong about this.
Okay.
They had the leading receiver in the NFL, and Kyler Murray was like, after multiple 100-yard rushers, he was in the top 10 of rushing in the league. Kenyon Drake was bad, and they still won against the reigning NFC champions at home. I don't care. There's no fans. I don't care. I'm telling you, the Cardinals are. I stuck my flag in them a long time ago, and they didn't do anything to make me change my mind. That's going to be the team we look back on and go, you missed that by a shitload.
Maybe.
Because I'm to the point I think they go 11-5.
God almighty.
What more do you want them
easy?
The schedule's real easy, but they're also real good. I don't know what more you need. They beat the team that we uniformly agreed was the best team in the NFC. They just beat them on their home field, and it's doing nothing to alter your opinion. That blows my mind.
No, because it was a sloppy-ass game.
It wasn't a sloppy. See, it wouldn't be bothering me so bad if I didn't know you didn't watch 5 plays of the fucking game. Because I was sitting right behind you.
I went back and watched the recaps, and
it was not a sloppy game. It was the best defense in the NFL. Could not stop them. Couldn't. Kyler Murray did what he wanted to, mainly at will.
Okay.
Now, they didn't score. Once they crossed the 50, it didn't go so well.
Right.
It's the best defense in the NFL.
See, okay. But that's the thing. Getting into the end zone, if you're gonna have to show me that you can get into the end zone more than twice.
Against the best defense in the NFL.
Yep.
I want you to think about what you just said. I'm gonna give you a chance to unwind that while I look something up.
Why would I unwind that?
I'll tell you why in just a second.
Okay.
Do.
But that's the thing. You've been trying to convince me that Kyler Murray is going to be the next sophomore MVP. This will be the 3rd year in a row. Well, his stats don't really look great.
Looked pretty damn good to me.
91 yards rushing and a touchdown. Okay. You threw 1 touchdown. Okay, so you're 10% of the touchdowns you had last year.
You worry way too much about last year. Lamar Jackson looked like he shouldn't be in the league in his rookie year. I don't think you can say that about Kyler in any way.
Okay.
Do you know how many teams scored over 24 points against the 49ers last year?
How many?
4.
Okay.
All year. And one of them was this Cardinals team. The Rams, New Orleans. That's still one of my greatest calls ever. Calling the over in that New Orleans-San Francisco game last year, and it hit in the second quarter.
Yep.
Oh, good times. Yeah, this is the... Here's what was scored on this same defense last year. 17-17, 20, 3-7-0, 13, 25, 24, 26, 8, 17, 46, 22, 31, 21. 9, 15, 17, 24. They didn't allow 24 points in the playoffs last year. Except to the Chiefs when they lost in the Super Bowl.
Right. Okay.
Your derision with this team just blows my mind.
It's week 1. I'm not having an overreaction to a team that I thought was damn near mediocre last year.
No, but you should be full well admitting you were wrong because you said this is the worst team in the NFC West. And if you don't see that's wrong, I can't help you. If you can't see that this is not the worst team in that division, you're out of your fucking mind.
Okay.
I mean, and that's as nicely as I can say it. They're better than the Rams, and they're much better than the Seahawks. And they just beat the only team that I would even give you that could be better than them. And I watched practically every play of this. And you're telling me it's sloppy. Well, I watched DeAndre Hopkins take – where would you put Richard Sherman in the NFL? Top 10? Mm-hmm. I'll give you a little leeway. He beat him like a fucking rag doll. And there's not many corners in the league that can play like that. They can play physical with DeAndre. And he ate him alive. They doubled him, and he still ate them alive. Mm-hmm. They couldn't run a greasy peg up a cat's ass, and they still beat them. Yeah, this is everybody's tried to talk about the tattoo bets and the shave my beard bets and all that. This is the one. I just got to figure out what weird thing I want him to do. Because him shaving his face is not a competition against mine.
No, it's not at all. I'll gladly shave my head.
I thought you already had.
I'll shave the 1/8 of an inch of hair I already have on my head. No, I'm not gonna overreact to one game. And yes, I still do believe all those other teams are better than them.
I don't. And I don't think it's all that close.
It's the best team it's the best division in football.
Agreed.
But I still
and
believe
they're the best team in it.
You're insane.
They just beat the best team to him in the division, and he can't even come off. They're better than I thought they were. This is a guy that said they're going to win 5 games. They're going to win 5 games in a row.
Okay. Will it make you happy if I say they're better than I thought they were?
It's a start.
Okay. 7-win team. Woo!
So he thinks they start 5-0 and then go 2-11 from there. Or 2-9.
After Kyler Murray breaks, yes. Okay. There was another one that another team that you have planted your flag in, and tonight they play for their lives once again. Talking about the NBA playoffs, Game 7, Denver Nuggets, LA Clippers, and the Doc Rivers on NBA.com. There was a story this morning. They did an interview with Doc Rivers, and Doc Rivers says before tonight's game, there is going to be no major, inspirational speech in the locker room. That inspirational speeches are just for the movies. And the only thing he has to say to his crew is, let's go win this one.
Is that what you said in the last 2 games?
Or excuse me, let's go win this one.
Is that what you said in the last 2 games? Because whatever you said in the last 2, you shouldn't do that again.
Right. I get it. I don't think that every game has those big inspirational win one for the Gipper kinds of speeches.
You better have something tonight.
You better fucking pull something out of your ass for this game, or else your Clippers are going to go home again. Never been to the conference finals.
0-7.
Uh-huh. And you don't have anything more than, let's go win this game.
Hey, Ron, I want this camera right here on my face for what I'm getting ready to say. The Nuggets win this game. Period. I firmly believe the Nuggets are going to win this game.
I have been saying over and over that the Clippers are the better team. The Clippers will win this one. They will figure out a way to get over the hump. But they've pushed themselves to the brink so far in this series that I don't know how they come out with anything other than a massive letdown. And you think about
it's getting to them, and it's very obvious.
Right. You think about all the hype coming into this season, almost a full calendar year ago, as we were talking about Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and oh my God, this is going to be the greatest Western Conference Finals ever with the Clippers and the Lakers going at each other. And the Clippers aren't even going to get there because for some reason they are snake bit.
I think it's in their head. Paul George has never been a particularly good player in the playoffs, and I think Kawhi is taking the load of the world on his shoulders. Mm-hmm. It doesn't change the fact that the vast majority of guys on this team don't defend well. And they've forgotten how to defend Nikola Jokic. Could they, you tend to play the tighter team usually loses, is what I'm trying to say. And tonight, the tighter team is going to be the LA Clippers. The Nuggets are playing with house money. The only person in any form of sports media that I've heard that believed in the Nuggets at all is me. And I'm not quite big enough to get to them yet.
You want to talk narratives, you want to talk cliches. I mean, you talk about a team that when their back is against the wall and they've got nothing to lose, they're dangerous.
Because they can score.
And that's exactly what Denver has proven over the last 2 games, is that you can never count them out.
Here's the thing. Michael Porter took Mike Malone to task and said that we're running too much of the offense through Nikola and Jamal Murray. We're putting too much on them. And he got a ton of shit for it. And he was right.
Yep.
We're putting too much pressure on these 2 guys. And since then, they haven't. You know, Will Barton had a good game the other night. Porter had a decent game the other night. Millsap's contributed a little bit. It's a more balanced team now. And the Clippers are going to have to figure out a way to beat that. I don't know that they can. You know, what I said from the get-go is I do not understand who's going to guard Nikola Jokic. Because Paul George will get in foul trouble, and Alika Zubac just gets beat like a kettle drum. So I still don't know how you fix that. Montrezl Harrell's too little. You know, just keep throwing people at me.
Right.
You don't have one.
Right.
And I think the Nuggets are going to win tonight.
I think there's a very high chance of that happening, and Jeremy, that's one that I will admit I was wrong, because I didn't think the Denver Nuggets. I thought that they would blow it in the first round. Then they came into this one, it went down 3-1, and I said, "There's no way they'll come back." I'm not doubting them anymore. Until next time, until the next series, and then when the next series comes around, the LA Clippers, I don't feel like are going to have that much of a problem with them.
I'm going to stick with my prognostication in the hopes that I will be the official commentator of the Denver Nuggets because I'm the only one that believed in them. And I have never wavered. Not one day have I wavered.
Right.
I've dropped my head and gone, well, last night didn't go well. But I have not wavered for my 2019-2020 NBA champion, Denver Nuggets.
Denver Nuggets. I don't know. I don't think they're going to win the championship. I don't like either of these teams going up against the Lakers. I've felt like the Lakers were kind of this team of destiny since the beginning of the season, and I feel like they're going to win it here. I've tried to throw intrigue out as much as possible with the Rockets series and the Portland Trailblazers series, but I still believe that they're the best team in the NBA, and I don't think that there's anything that is going to stop them, especially not one of the teams from the Eastern Conference Finals, which begins tonight, the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. 2 teams that I do really like. Part of me wants to say Miami will win this series, but I just can't get past Boston's collection of talent.
So you're taking Boston?
Yes, I will take Boston in 6.
I'll take Miami in 6. I'll take Miami in 6.
How do you think that they're going to be able to neutralize all of the different looks that Boston can come at them with, whether it be Kemba Walker, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart goes off every now and then, Jaylen Brown?
This is going to be a slugfest. You have some of the best defenders in the NBA in this series.
Yes.
This is not going to be aesthetically pleasing basketball. I don't know who's going to guard Jimmy Butler. And I don't think that defense against defense, I don't think the Celtics can score on the Heat to the level that the Heat can score on the Celtics. The Heat are bar none the better defensive team. Not saying Boston's bad, just saying the Heat are the better defensive team. Typically, when we get to this point, I'm more interested in can you stop somebody because everybody can score at this point. So, yeah, I'm in. I'll take Heat in 6.
Heat in 6. I like Jimmy Butler. I really do. I
Butler.
love his attitude, just that whole down to business, and when he's on the floor, that look that he gets in his eyes just makes me feel like he's a man on a mission. I really enjoy watching the Heat, but I think the Celtics are just way too talented. I understand that this is one of those kind of coin flip series for me, but I do think Boston will end up taking the series just because I don't know. I guess part of me feels like it's time. Like we've been saying, the Celtics are a year away for 3 years. And I feel like now is the time. There's no better time for them to be able to make it to the NBA Finals.
I agree with you.
Still think they lose to the Lakers in the finals, but
I agree with everything you just
but
said.
who could say no to who could say no to Lakers Celtics in the finals?
That hadn't even crossed my mind.
Yep.
I hadn't even thought of that. That is an entirely possible outcome. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be Nuggets and Nuggets.
The
Heat.
Nuggets and the Heat. You talk about one of the biggest letdowns in NBA history. The front office will be setting shit on fire if they come this close to having another Lakers-Celtics finals and they end up with the Nuggets and the Heat. Woof. Because think of the national intrigue. Already you're running up against the NFL, and you're losing that battle immediately just because it's football versus basketball. Then you throw in all the other crap that we're dealing with people trying to boycott both the sports. I think that would be one of the lowest rated series in history if you had Denver and Miami.
By the way, I have to cover this. I covered this on the ESPN show yesterday. The next person that tells me that they're boycotting the NFL, I'm going to tell them what I had for breakfast. And I'm going to do that until they stop talking. I'll commentate my life. Like, getting in the car now, driving down the road, and I'll do the do's and everything.
You'll do the do's?
I'll have 78 do's. Just do. Mm-hmm. This is not an airport. We do not need to know about your departure. Right. If you don't want to watch, don't watch. Don't assume that I care. Like, if you don't want to watch, don't watch. I just don't really care that you're not watching. Mm-hmm. I didn't ask when you were. I don't care now that you're not.
That's a great point, Kevin, in the comments. Yes, we had to watch Kemba Walker, be the star of a shitty Charlotte Hornets team for years. And yes, I'm with you. Pull for him to win to at least win the East Championship. Can't go with him in the finals, but yeah, Kemba is a guy who I've always thought he can be a champion. He 100%. He can be a really solid piece on a championship team, and that's exactly what Brad Stevens has in Boston.
He, in my opinion, is he's the reason they're here as opposed to where they've been booted recently. Mm-hmm. He's the reason I give them a chance in this series. Part of it. I mean, obviously Tatum and Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. Mm-hmm. This is a talented team, but I like the fact that they have a go-to guy in crunch time in Kemba Walker.
Mm-hmm. Where does Marcus Smart go after this? That's my big question. Do you think he becomes like a really solid starter for somebody, or is he always going to be a sixth man?
He's better this way. He's better when he can be put in specific situations. He's a very good on-ball defender. Mm-hmm. He's also not really a great point guard. So I don't think he can be your point guard. Mm-hmm. I look at him and Fred VanVleet very similarly. I think it's really. Off the bench. I think no, because VanVleet starts.
Oh, well, that's true.
I look at them as you really need specific kind of guys around you. Mm-hmm. VanVleet needs somebody to set him up. Marcus Smart needs to not be a focal point of the offense. He needs to not be a highly paid, focal point of the scoring. Mm-hmm. I look at him in the reverse of how I look at Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier couldn't defend this table. Mm-hmm. And when you paid him, and now if he doesn't score, that team's terrible. Mm-hmm. Because that's why he's on the floor, is to be an offensive spark plug. Marcus Smart, the reason he works here is because you can match him up on the best player, and all they're asking him to do is play defense. Mm-hmm. And facilitate a little offense.
Right.
I hope he stays in Boston, personally.
I think he fits.
He does.
He fits.
He fits the mentality of that town perfectly.
Yep. Blue collar, hard nosed, don't take shit off nobody.
Angry, a lot of angry. There's a lot of angry.
Yeah. I think the only thing that he's missing that Boston has a lot of is white.
And that accent.
And Catholic.
He doesn't have that really annoying accent.
Right. This is very true. Other NBA news, Mike D'Antoni has informed the Houston Rockets he will not be back as coach. Right move, wrong move for D'Antoni.
Well, D'Antoni's 75,000 years old, so I can tell you straight up, I would not want to deal with James Harden and Russell Westbrook for the rest of my career. Mm-hmm. At all. So, I mean, I don't know who's going to take that job. I don't know who would want that job. I don't know who's going to sign up.
Oh, I know. Tyronn Lue. Why not? He's been mentioned for every other job.
I don't know who's going to – nobody with options is going to sign up to tie themselves to Russell Westbrook and James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw this amidst the football over the weekend. An Eastern Conference scout came out and said if Russell Westbrook is tradable, he should be traded.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what they get back. And I agree. I've said that all year. It was just validation of what I've said. Westbrook makes Harden less effective because there's only one ball. And without the ball in their hand, neither one of them's overly effective. Harden can work off the ball, but he can't work off the ball when Westbrook's the one with it in his hands. Mm-hmm. So they have to do something. I've heard a lot of candidates for that job. Jeff Van Gundy keeps coming up because he does fit the mentality of that team. Mm-hmm. He was forward-thinking in how many threes he shot back when he was with the Knicks and with the Rockets the first time. I could see it. I don't think this is an overly attractive job. I really don't. I mean, you look at guys like Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan can go practically anywhere he wants to go.
Yep.
You think he's signing up for this? Because I don't.
Mm-mm.
Tyronn Lue, I look at the same way. There's too many good jobs out there. Yeah. Indiana's a good job. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Philadelphia's a great job. Mm-hmm. New Orleans is a great job. Mm-hmm. This is an average job. This is a job with very excised expectations.
Mike D'Antoni is not 5,000 years old. He's actually 69.
He's the second oldest coach in the NBA.
So, but he's 69 years old. He's still, he's still got another run with another team left.
Watch him in Philadelphia. I'm just telling you. I've heard it all year long.
Okay.
If Brett Brown gets let go, if Mike D'Antoni doesn't come back to Houston, watch D'Antoni because he was an assistant in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. It won't shock me at all, and I hate it. I think the fit there is atrocious. But I've heard it all year, so I can't. Right. Now that we're here, I can't back off what I've been told.
Right. Okay. So likely he ends up in Philadelphia.
I look for it, yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Oh, Wisconsin's chancellor, Rebecca Blank, told reporters on Monday in a rare on-the-record comment by a conference executive that the Big Ten will all move together. It will not be a team-by-team decision on whether or not they play football in the fall. We have been talking about, over the weekend, the Health and Safety Committee or whatever for the Big Ten have made their presentations over 2 days to all of the chancellors and all of the presidents about returning to football. We're expecting, probably, I guess by tomorrow evening, that there will be an official vote on whether or not to return.
I was told yesterday there would be a vote within the next 72 hours. Mm-hmm. And the projected date is still October 17th.
Yeah. So October 17th is the date that they're looking to get back to football if they do decide to do so. But I think it's interesting, this comment coming from the Chancellor of Wisconsin, saying that all the Big Ten teams will move together. And to me, that kind of throws up another red flag, because what we've been hearing up to this point is that probably Rutgers would sit out the season, Michigan State might sit out, whatever. So, all teams moving together, does that give you more hope that they're going to play on October 17th or less? Because I'm on the less side.
I'm on the more side.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because what that just did was it indemnified Ohio State. I got news for you. You ever heard that term, big dick in the locker room? Mm-hmm. That guy that just walks around without a towel because, whoa, there he is. That's Ohio State. And Ohio State's head coach and virtually every person affiliated with that program has come out and said there's no reason we shouldn't be playing college football. Mm-hmm. We just had all these games happen over the weekend. We're in week 2, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. So you know what the Chancellor of Wisconsin just did? We're all together. It's not Ohio State forcing us to do it. They're not forcing our hand. They don't have more say than we do. We're all equal partners. So when they come back and say, we want football, they can say, we all voted for it unanimously. Mm-hmm. Not Ohio State made us do it, which is the way it looks right now. Because Ohio State's basically been sitting here going, keep fucking with me. You keep screwing with me and see how that works. When Ryan Day and Urban Meyer, who are the two biggest voices at Ohio State University, it's not Gordon Gee, it's not any of the chancellors or presidents or anything. I'm gonna level with you. None of those people matter. The two that matter are Urban Meyer and Ryan Day. That's it. They both came out and said, this is dumb. It's dumb that we're not playing, and it is pathetic for our student athletes that they're not involved in the college football playoff this year, and they've worked their asses off and all of these things. They have inundated the Big Ten with, you're doing it wrong. If you think that those two people don't have a voice in that room, you're out of your mind. Yeah, it tells me definitively, we're coming back. But I've heard that for weeks.
Right.
Dan Patrick waffled. I didn't. We're the two I've heard say this. Dan Patrick said, well, they need 8 teams. They don't know that they have 8 teams. Rutgers, Maryland, all that. I got news for you. If Rutgers and Maryland jump up and say, we're not going to play, Ohio State will go, cool, we'll revoke your membership. Bet you'll play now. And yes, I do think it's that cut and dry.
Really?
I think Ohio State looks at it and goes, every other conference is playing, we're not. It makes us look bad. We're the high-end recruiting school. We're the school that brings all the money in. It's us, Penn State, Michigan, Michigan State. That's it. The rest of you don't bring in revenue. Nebraska kind of does. But there's a whole shitload of Rutgers and Maryland has money. They don't bring it in. So, yeah, I think they're going to, in the room, they're going to say, we're playing.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this vote turns out. I don't know.
It's going to be unanimous.
You think it's going to be unanimous?
It's 100%. 100% is unanimous.
Okay.
Because if you're the dissenting voice now, you've lost all credibility. Why would any coach that works for you want to continue doing this? We're watching programs furlough employees. Utah just did it. They furloughed their head coaches. You really don't think the head coach at Utah is going, I wonder if I'd be treated better in the ACC. And players are looking going, I wonder if they care more in the ACC or in the Big 12 or in the SEC. Well, we already knew they cared more in the SEC because that's what's happening.
Right.
And that's what Ryan Day's trying to tell them. Look, I'm one of the youngest, hottest coaches in this country, and I will leave here. If you keep screwing with me, I will leave here.
I don't disagree with anything.
This is what I've
you're
said the
saying.
whole time.
But again, you have to rely. What you're doing is you're putting faith in the fact that, or in the assumption that these administrators will be willing to flip their votes. And I don't know that that's going to be the case with all of them.
I would wager the athletic directors have come to them and said, hey, you know this $60 million deficit we have this year? If you keep doing this, it's going to stay that way.
Right.
And you have no justification anymore. Because look at how all of these games have been played, and guess what? Nobody died. Ain't nobody died. Not one person died. There was a college football player for, what was it, Pennsylvania, California or something like that? It was a lineman for Cal, Pennsylvania or something like that. He died of coronavirus. Yeah, his dad came out and said, no, he had it. He didn't die from it.
Cal, Pennsylvania.
It's
Where's that?
It's in California. I don't know what it is, but it's a D3 school in California.
Oh, okay.
And they had a lineman that died.
Never heard of
and
that.
the media said, he died from the coronavirus. And his dad said, no, he didn't. He died with the coronavirus, not from it. Had nothing to do with that. He had an enlarged heart. And he died, which is super sad and super unfortunate. But
Right.
yeah, I see no way the Big Ten. I think you're going to have I won't be shocked if it's today. I won't be shocked if you have an announcement today.
They need to flip at least 6 previous nay votes to yay to be able to play in the fall.
Okay, so I want you to
that.
think about what the Wisconsin chancellor said. That whatever we do, we're going to do all together.
Yes.
Which do you think's easier? Switching the nay votes to yay or the yay votes to nay? Ohio State will never vote.
Oh, no.
Ohio State will never vote no.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. I just don't know that they're going to get everybody to go along.
In the room, you might be right. When this comes out in the media, you're totally
It'll
wrong.
be your
It'll be 14-0 in the media. I
Right.
promise you. And I mean, if they have to put gag orders on them, they will. But
Right.
You're not allowed to talk about what happened in here.
Okay.
You threatened to kill you, and you threatened to kill you, and they don't need to know that. Here's our decision. Company line. You go with it.
Right. Don't know that more secrecy is what they need, but I almost feel like they should hold this meeting with a live stream.
Not going to happen.
Not gonna happen.
Because Kevin Ward's going to step up in front of that table and go, well, I screwed that up, didn't I? How are we going to fix this?
All right, can you guys bail me out? That might actually be the...
we need a solution that will keep me from getting fired. Do we have one of those? And Ryan Day in the back will go, yeah, play football. All right.
All right, let's do that. All right, the Big Ten decision is expected to come sometime real soon. It looks like they might play on October the 17th. We'll just have to wait and see. We got the NBA playoffs continuing tonight. It is Game 7 of the series between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Denver Nuggets, and you got the opener of the Eastern Conference Finals with the Boston Celtics taking on the Miami Heat. We'll have all the recaps and more run-up to tonight's festivities this afternoon on the ESPN Asheville show. You can catch it everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, the Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene.
Yeah.
And you can follow us at the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias. Also check out the sportsocracy.com. We will be with you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Always remember, you invite your friends, we'll invite our friends, and then we can be friends.
Bye.
Are you back?